Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Kenyan News Podcast with me, Omar and Ahmad Banafa. Ahmad, good evening to you.
Good evening, Omar. How are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm doing okay. A bit of showers this evening in Nairobi. Very nice. You know how much I love the rain, so
Sounds
it's
lovely.
really nice for me here. Yeah. What's new with you?
Not much. I'm looking forward to coming back to Nairobi pretty soon, so I think that's it.
Yeah. I think you'd be very happy to hear this. I finally got a new laptop charger that
Oh,
works.
finally.
So
Wow.
yes, it's been months. I know, but it's finally working. I'm very excited. Every time my laptop charges,
Wow.
I'm over the moon.
That's really incredible. Really happy for you, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And I made some fantastic biryani last Sunday. Oh,
Wow.
I've been eating
Wow.
biryani ever since. Like I made a lot. There's other food in the fridge, but I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it.
I
It's
get
been
that
really good.
reference. I understood that reference. Yeah.
But
That's really
yeah,
exciting. Looking
it
forward
really is
to being
exciting
there.
times. It's really exciting times.
Mhm.
Exciting times at Arsenal, really.
Yeah.
2 wins on the bounce since we last recorded. A fantastic win against Aston Villa, and just yesterday, actually, a win
Mhm.
against Leeds in the Carabao Cup to take us into the quarterfinals. Look, we'll get to Leeds in a bit. I want to talk about Aston Villa because that was the first game after our podcast, and I think the one with a lot of talking points. I think
Uh,
the 2 wins were very different
did
in
we
nature.
didn't we also play Crystal Palace, or are we
Did
blocking
we?
that?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
we played
Did we?
Crystal
Oh yeah, we
Palace
did.
since we
Oh,
last recorded.
well, it's 3 wins. Oh no, sorry, 3 games, one draw,
Two
one
wins and a draw.
2 wins and a draw, basically. You've just thrown me out of my whole thinking process. So,
I'm really sorry.
must we really talk about Crystal Palace? Okay, I think we
No, no,
should.
I don't think.
I think we should, even if
Okay.
it's just for a few minutes. I think there was a lot of concern after the game. I think we won. We drew the game 2-2. Like I said, with
Mm.
basically a last-minute goal. But a lot of people are not happy with the performance, the lethargy in terms of our attacking play. I mean, one thing that I don't know, frustrated is the wrong word to use, but I was very perturbed by the general consensus of people that are not Arsenal people, shall we say, who are like, oh, Crystal Palace played so well, they played us off the park. I didn't feel as though it was like that. I just felt that
Mm.
we played badly. And
Yeah.
at no point in time did Crystal Palace threaten our goal. Their 2 goals came from 2 mistakes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a bad performance.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think if I may, this the Crystal Palace game was, I think, part of the growing pains that we've been talking about, that we should learn to expect by now, because this is a new team that is coming together. It's a very young team, and
mm,
it was um, sort of the old mistakes, that, shall we say, that were coming back to haunt us. Um,
yeah, I think as well.
so
Just to cut in, I think there were a lot of bad performances on the day as well. A lot of people were not on
yeah.
the game.
I think the we expected Thomas Partey to perform very well. I think one mistake came from him and his midfield partner as well in Lokonga. I think when he came, Lokonga came in as a sub, if I remember
Yeah, second
correctly.
half.
And he came in and he also made a mistake. And it was a very quick, Crystal Palace, to be fair to them, punished those mistakes very effectively. And that's all basically that I think they created. Those are their two big chances, and it epitomized maybe our poor performance on the day. And it's, as I said,
Mm.
it's, I think this is part of the growing pains. You know, the good thing is we managed to get that draw. Yes, it
Yeah,
wasn't good enough, but it's a good draw in the end.
I mean, it's a long season. Anything can happen. It might look like a good point by March, April. So, I mean, we just have to wait and see. After that, I think approaching the Aston Villa game, there's a lot of apprehension from the Arsenal fans. How would we respond? Aston Villa are a better team than Crystal Palace. And I mean, the game was as good, if not better than the Spurs game. I think we were absolutely terrific. The everybody was onto it. We were full of energy, full of zip, onto the second balls, quick progression into their final third. I mean, Aston Villa could not live with us for, I mean, the first half especially, but I mean, throughout the whole game, really. I mean, we just bossed them off the park, and it was really enjoyable performance.
Yeah, that was as good a half as we've seen from Arsenal. I think since the Spurs game, I think this was one of the better performances we've seen under Mikel. Talking about that first half, what a game, what a performance. It was totally dominating. You know, that's, I think, more like it. That's more of what everyone wants to see.
Mhm.
And it was good. At least we maintained it for the whole half. And just from the halftime stats, I think at the end of the half, we had 14 attempts to Aston Villa's none. So 5 shots on target to Aston Villa's none. 7 times the amount of touches in their box as opposed to theirs, and we lost the possession as well. So it was quite a dominating performance, and you could tell. I think you just had to watch the game to know. You don't even need those stats that I've just read out. You just need to have seen any part of the game, and you would be able to know Arsenal were definitely on top.
Yeah, I mean, before we just get into the half, I'd like us to talk about team news. There were a couple of changes. Lacazette came on. I'm trying to remember who was the other change.
I think Nuno came
Oh
into the
yes,
starting.
no, Tavares came in for an injured Tierney, and Lacazette
and
came on for
Lokonga.
Odegaard.
Lokonga also started.
Sorry?
Lokonga also started.
Lokonga started. Who for though?
I think previously it was
Pepe, yes.
who had started. All right. Okay, him.
They came on for Pepe. 3 changes basically. Change of formation as well. I think we looked different. I think a lot of people were assuming that it was a 4-4-2. Let's just go with that, I think, because Lacazette and Aubameyang were very close together in the game. There was a two people in the midfield zone, in Thomas Partey and Lokonga. And then we had very good foils in Smith Rowe and Saka, who could go both inwards and outwards. Tomiyasu and Tavares were very good on the overlap and the underlap. So I mean, good. I think formation came out. I think we were all happy, I'd say, with the team lineup, which has become sort of a theme.
Let me just say, I think when I first read the team lineup, I was actually a bit skeptical because I don't think Arteta has really managed to have Lacazette and Aubameyang in the same first 11 quite as well. Yeah, so when I saw the first 11 that was released, it's just a list that you see, with no charts or anything yet. I was like, Arteta again is pushing out Aubameyang to the wide left position. This is another game. I'm not expecting much going into this. But then once we started, I think even during the warm-up, people had been seeing the drills and everything, that it was more of a 4-4-2. And then I think that was when it was like, okay, that's quite interesting. That's something maybe that could work. And I think that was my reaction to the lineup when it came out.
You mentioned something interesting about the formation. I think as well, Aston Villa probably weren't expecting that sort of lineup from us. I think it's also fair to point out that we've had problems with teams that play with three from the back. And Aston Villa, I don't know how they've been playing the previous games, but they came into this game with a back three. Hopefully, we're trying to replicate the problems that we have been having against teams that play with three at the back. And we just went with a completely different formation, completely different setup on how we were to attack the ball, defend the ball, and it just caught Aston Villa off guard. To give a point to Aston Villa on that, but I think as well our application was excellent, and it started right from the off. Really, couple of chances. Thomas Partey hit the post, and he finally got his goal. A great header. The set piece routine was something we had seen throughout the game. Really, a great ball into the near post and Thomas Partey to flick it on. It happened on a couple of occasions. I think as well, Thomas Partey being in that mix for the set pieces, probably something that the new set piece coach has been working on in the weeks.
Now that you've mentioned it, it's something interesting I've noticed. Our last three games, the Palace, Aston Villa, and yesterday's game against Leeds, we've scored a set piece from each of them, a corner. We've scored from a corner in each of those last three games. So maybe the set piece coach is doing something right.
Yeah, I mean the corners now. Yeah, they have been different. They've been a bit more threatening with them. I think we do have a bit of. Gabriel is a huge person, let alone a huge player. We've got Ben White in there, Thomas Partey. Players who can in the mix bring a lot of trouble in those sort of areas. So it's nice to see. We've been talking about our attacking efficiency. I think adding set piece goals to that, I think, helps us in achieving the sort of goal target that we want for this season. So, more goals is always welcome. More goals is always welcome from the set piece. I was very pleased for Thomas Partey as well to get his first goal for Arsenal.
I think it was a long time coming. We've been seeing him take his shots, and they've been getting close and closer. And finally, unexpectedly, we see him score from a header. I think that was very nice for him.
Yeah,
very happy for him as well to get his first goal in front of the Arsenal crowd as well. So good on him.
Yeah, and on to the second goal. I was watching it on Sky. No, sorry, not Sky. On SuperSport, and the commentator, I don't know who it was like when he was doing the VR review, he was like, "That's not a penalty. He gets the ball." And you look at it like he goes through the player to get the ball. It really. I remember at the moment it was so frustrating, and I was like, "Come on, man!" He goes through the player to get the ball. For me, it was a clear penalty. Just before the penalty was taken again, there was a bit of handbags from Lacazette and Martinez. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I hadn't seen that, but I had seen, I think, after the fact when it was just a shouting match, I think.
Yeah, so Martinez was sort of confronted. I don't know how it happened because it happened all off screen. Then when they came on the screen, they were just shouting at each other. Aubameyang took it. To be fair, I actually thought he would score from the penalty spot. In the end, it's a fantastic save from Martinez, actually.
Yeah.
And again, Aubameyang was alive to the situation. He was the first to react. A great finish off his weaker foot into the net. Sort of actually similar to the goal that he scored against Crystal Palace, if you think about it. Yeah. And I think at that point, 2-0 at halftime, we were well deserving of that lead, I feel. Aston Villa really had definitely no could have scored complaints about that.
There was that Saka chance that we that he missed.
Yeah, great run from Tavares, great pass from Smith Rowe. into Tavares. Great ball in, actually. I thought he would miss that pass into Saka. But I mean, he showed great composure, great ball into Saka. Saka should score, to be fair. He should score that. I mean, it's a good save from Martinez, but in that position, the attacker should be scoring that.
Definitely, yeah. So we were well on top by the half, I think. All in all, a very good performance in the half. I think someone who impressed me quite a bit, Lacazette, having been out for a while. I think this was his first start in the Premier League, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so it was quite nice to see his performance. I think it lifted a lot of the players, especially in the attacking bit. I was also impressed with Smith Rowe, but that's a given. I think these days he's really, since he got the number 10 jersey, I think he's showing that he really wanted it, and he's showing us why he wanted it.
Yeah,
he's really been putting in those really good performances. And in the second half, just as soon as we started, I think a few minutes into the game, into the second half, there he goes, wins the ball back from our own half and creates an opportunity with Aubameyang, and he gets a bit lucky with the deflection, but it goes into the net.
Yeah, I mean, great pass from Tavares into Aubameyang in the build-up to that goal. I thought it was a fantastic pass. I mean, a lot of people have been berating is a bit of a harsh word, but have been pointing out that Tavares has a bit of a rawness to him. But I think in this game, he showed a bit of finesse about his game, which was quite impressive. And the pass into Aubameyang is a great example. Great pass, fizzed into him at the right pace, right time, and Aubameyang just took the flick on. Smith Rowe did the rest, and 3-0 at that time. You're thinking, yeah, this is all wrapped up tied in a bow, and we just need to see out the game. Aston Villa got a goal back, though. Good goal, in fairness, from Ramsey. But I don't think they threatened at any point at the game. I think the 3 points at that point were ours at that time.
Yeah, I don't think we were worried at any moment in time. Their goal came at, I think, what was it? The 70th minute or something. And I think at that point we were well on our way. We were comfortable. We were defending quite well. I think we were on top, basically, is what we are saying. And it was a good performance in the end. The whole team performed very admirably, exactly the sort of response we wanted to see after that Crystal Palace game.
Yeah, good game, good performance. I'm just sorry, I was going at a bit of a break there. I was just trying to look up the Premier League table. These are things that I should have done before.
It's an interesting table. I think we're 10th still, but we are tied on points with 7th and only 1 point behind 5th and 3 points behind 4th. So, I mean...
Yeah, 3 points off the top 4. West Ham in 4th after the fantastic win against Tottenham Hotspur, of course, who get battered everywhere they go. So, yeah, I think we'll have a bit of discussion about what our aspirations are for the rest of the season. But I think 3 points off the top 4, almost 10 games in, I think that's not a bad place to be, really, if I'm being honest. I mean, with the Crystal Palace game, if we had gone that with a different approach, who knows how close it would have been to that top 4. But that's all ifs and buts and maybes. We had another game in the Carabao Cup, different competition against Leeds, won that 2-0 yesterday into the quarterfinals of the competition again for the second time in as many years. Not as good as a performance as the Aston Villa one was, but I think it was to be expected with the amount of changes. I mean, players who haven't played for weeks really coming into the game. and did really well. I think, to be fair, Leeds didn't make that many changes to the team, so it was more or less a Premier League team from Leeds.
Mm.
And we managed to beat them. I think I was watching Gunnar Blog's video that he does normally after the game, and he was saying if a 2-0 win over Leeds in any competition is a good result. If we win against Leeds 2-0 in the Premier League, that's a fantastic result. So I think it's a good point there as well. I mean, first half was a bit iffy. It was more even. I think I saw the statistics. I was just looking at the statistic in the first half. I mean, we had 50% possession each. I think we had almost the same amount of shots. So it was an even game, a bit scrappy, to be fair. I think second half, we turned the screw a little bit, not gone into gear 4, gear 5, but certainly gear 3. I think we were a bit more in control. The goals. I'm trying to remember.
First one from the super sub, was it? From
Yeah,
Chambers.
22
First
seconds. In
touch,
22 seconds, his first touch.
giving me the
Another
Lord
set piece
Bentner
goal.
vibes.
Yeah, Bentner versus those lot. I mean,
Yeah, that was a good one.
yeah, I mean, great set piece routine. I mean, great ball in. The header back in was a very good one. Positioning from the Leeds keeper, maybe a bit suspect. I mean, if he's on the line, he saves it. His positioning, I think, was a bit poor in that, but I mean, we'll take those. Great header, and his celebration went straight to the set piece coach as well. So maybe something in there into that in terms of his movement. So yeah, I mean, it was a good game, a good goal. Sorry, from Chambers, and 1-0 at that point. You're thinking, yeah, I think we can win this game. And then 2-0, mistake from Cooper, the Leeds captain. Nketiah, great touch to take him over the keeper, but he almost misses with the shot. It just finally gets in, and at 2-0.
Yeah, he looked a bit relieved on that once he had taken the shot and it went in. He visibly looked relieved.
Yeah, I mean, 2-0 at that time, you're thinking, yeah, I mean, this is good. I don't know. I mean, I think one thing that disappointed me about the game was the lack of taking of the chance from Pepe and Martinelli. I mean, this was a game. I mean, Saka and Smith Rowe, I mean, nobody's getting them out of the team at this moment. But with a good performance from those two, you certainly would have put your name in the manager's mind in case he wants to make a first substitution. I mean, if Martinelli, I mean, he tried. I mean, not for the lack of trying, but just it didn't click for them yesterday, and I don't want to say disappointed me, but it saddened me more. It made me sad more than disappointed, really, that they didn't take their opportunity just to give the manager a bit of thinking about what he wants to do with the team. But really,
about the performance of Pepe and Martinelli, I think Martinelli especially worked really hard.
Yeah.
He didn't have many touches in the opposition box as we would have liked him to have, and I think that's partly due to the players behind him as well. I think El Neni is not Partey, El Neni is not Lokonga. Maitland-Niles tried. I think Maitland-Niles was the better of the midfield pairing on the night. He to me, he played really well. But Pepe, definitely, I think it's come to the point now where he should have taken leadership of the game. I think he's now a senior in this team. It's a very young team, and he's one of the seniors now. He's been here, this is his third year. So definitely his performance, for me, it was a bit wanting. He should have done a lot better with some of the balls that went into him. Some of his touches are still wanting, and it's clear to everyone who watches Arsenal at this point that Saka is better on that right hand side. And yesterday was Pepe's chance to prove the doubt is wrong. I don't think he took his chances. And as well, this is a season where we do not have European football, so the chances to break into the team, such as yesterday, are very few and far between. So he really should have done better with the chance he got yesterday.
I mean, one thing that fascinated me about Pepe, he beat his man on the halfway line, and as soon as he got into the final third, I mean, he just lost all train of thought. I mean, there's one he beat Dallas expertly, and then as he got close to the box, he just fell down. He literally just fell down.
I remember that.
I mean,
the enigma.
Pepe. That is Pepe's game, and basically Pepe as in Arsenal. I mean, and the weirdest thing as well. I mean, we're talking about how disappointed we are in Pepe. He gets the assist for Chambers' goal.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that is Pepe.
That is Nicolas Pepe. Yeah, the players let's talk about the players that actually played well. I was happy with Nketiah. I think he had a really, really good game. Still, I don't think he can make a claim for the first 11 yet. There's a lot of big people in front of him, but he did play well, and was happy for Maitland-Niles as well. I think given the season he had last season and maybe a bit of confusion towards the start of the season because of the transfer window, he's getting his chances, and for me, he's playing well when he's required. So
yeah, I think that's something very interesting as well. I mean, all of his, not all, but most of his appearances have been in midfield. And I don't think he's had a bad game really in midfield so far. I think he's been able.
Exactly.
He's been purposeful in his passing, quick on the tackle, resistant to the press. I mean, he's actually looked pretty good. I don't know whether being a bit part player in midfield is going to be enough for him to stay at Arsenal. But at this point in time, the chances he's been given, he's taking them. And I mean, January will be an interesting time for Maitland-Niles. Whether he'll go, I don't know, because of the AFCON and all that, but certainly something to put our eyes on, definitely.
Definitely. And another player who caught my eye as well was Holding. I think Holding had a more than decent performance when he was playing before he got subbed off. He played on the left, which is a bit unusual for him.
To be fair, under Mikel, yeah, true. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we did see sort of a good partnership. I think he also tried doing the Ben White foray forward, trademarked by White, and he put a smile on my face with his performance. Basically,
his passing was really good as well.
Tackle, yeah, his passing had really improved from when he last played. Yeah, he was a player who really he made me happy yesterday.
Yeah, and his hairline is making an incredible comeback. I think we're gonna have an episode on the Amazon that's exclusively about the emergence, the re-emergence, like the phoenix from the ashes. Rob Holding's hair.
Yeah, that's actually how do you say this? Symbolic to our season. The resurgence in our season is directly proportional to the resurgence of Holding's hairline.
Wow, that is incredible. I mean, there you have it, guys. I don't even want to. I think we should end part 1 right there. Right there. I'm not even going to continue anymore, guys. I think we'll stop right there for part 1. We've got a couple of questions that we want to answer, and we'll get them into part 2 right after this. Welcome back to part 2 of the Welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode of the King Goodness Podcast. You can follow us on our various social media sites on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Of course, give us a follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Right, Ahmed, we have got a couple of questions here. Funnily enough, most of them from Instagram. So, I mean, hooray to our Instagram followers. We really appreciate all your questions. Would you like to go first?
Sure. First question, is Odegaard still trying to blend with the team? And tactically, where do you see him best placed? That's an interesting question. Do you want to start us off?
I think Odegaard's best position for me in any team really is the number 10, the position behind the striker. I think he, especially in this Arsenal team, because he's sort of like a connective tissue, because we've got a lot of creative players as well out wide. I mean, Smith Rowe can play on the left, Saka can play on both the right and the left. So he acts as a conduit to the striker in all ways towards the wide creators and the striker as well in front of him. I think because of that, his ability to create or to connect play, Arteta in the last couple of games, I guess since Xhaka's injury, has opted to put him in the number 8 position. And in theory, it makes sense to have him there. But I think what we've seen, especially in the Brighton game, he doesn't have the natural positional play of a number 8. And I think sometimes he looks a bit lost. And basically, I think the Brighton game and the Crystal Palace game, he's sort of seemed anonymous, really. Like, you're like, oh, wow, Odegaard is playing, because I think his positional play is a bit off. It's not that of a central midfielder. And I think he doesn't seem to occupy those spaces well. But I think his best position is in behind the striker. What he needs to improve on is his goal tally in terms of goals and assists, goal contributions, should I say. If he increases them, I think we'll see the better version of Odegaard. But for me, his best position is behind the striker. You can have him in the number 8 in a couple of games, but I think primarily you want to see him behind the striker, behind Aubameyang. What do you think?
I think I agree with you. Odegaard does play better when he is just behind the striker. I think as a number 10, we've seen him connect the team in such a way where we are even more productive, I think, than when he plays a bit deeper. But necessity has made him fall a bit back. I think Arteta tried using him as a number 8, to retain his creative, as a number 8, to retain his creative aspects in the game. But it hasn't really worked out for him, as you've said, Omar, that positionally, maybe he doesn't know where best to play as when he's played as a number 8. So I think he's still trying to learn that role. He can play it, but I don't think that that's his best position. We've seen him play as well as he can play when he's at the number 10 role, where he can occupy those half spaces, get the team ticking, get the balls into Aubameyang, as we know he can do. I think he creates more chances when he's in that position as well. And just now, maybe as you've rightly mentioned, he needs to add a bit more end product in his game, his assists and his goals. But there's room for improvement. I think it's still a bit early. We can't make any rash decisions with him. He's still a very, very good player. and let's just be patient with him. He is a good lad. I like him.
I mean, he's young as well. I mean, he's what, 22, 23?
Yeah, I think 22.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
check.
that's pretty young. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look forward for him in his career, and he's already had such a good base as well in terms of education. Yeah, I think most good things should come from him in the future. So I wouldn't be concerned really with the lack of form. I think it's normal for a player of his age. It's just that whether he can now pick it up and make it good again, I guess.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly. Any other question?
Another question. Comes from Instagram as well. It says, which central midfield signing should we target in January? Because this is a position we lack in depth in, with Partey going for AFCON in January. We definitely need one or two bodies in midfield. Any preference? I mean, at this point, it's about preference because there's nothing in the media at this moment in time in terms of targets. So was there a kind of player that you would like, or a preference in a particular player that you'd like?
It's interesting that he's added this AFCON caveat, because the player that I was looking at was, again, I think we should maybe go back for him, is Yves Bissouma. I think he still covers the role, but with the AFCON caveat, I'm not really sure. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't been really looking at a lot of football at the moment. So I'm not really sure what we would go for.
Do you agree, though, that we need to sign someone, or are you of the opinion that what we have can sustain us for?
I mean, what is it? If it happens, and this is a big if, because I've seen in the news cycle that it might not happen, AFCON. If it happens, it's what, 2-3 games, which is 9 points, which is big, but as well, I do think that we can manage with Lokonga and Shaka, I think, and Maitland-Niles showing that he can play a bit. Maybe it's something that we can refocus and go into a big money signing over the summer. Or if it is urgent, maybe we'll hear something in the news cycle coming up. But for now, I don't think it's that urgent.
Well, I think one of the games is against Man City, so
Oof.
yeah.
Well, even if we did have a full first 11, what could you possibly expect in that game? I mean, to be very honest,
Yeah.
at the level we are right now,
I
you
really
know,
hate those games, though. I hate the games against
yeah.
Liverpool and Man City, because you know you're not going to win the game. And then you just go
You're
in.
still hopeful.
As the game approaches, you start to get a bit hope, and then poop, in the 3rd minute you've considered a goal. Then there it is. I really, really, really hate these games, and I just
Yeah.
hope that we can get competitive against those teams sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
there's
there
Liverpool
we
coming
go.
up.
I mean, yeah,
Our next away
that
game
would be
again after Leicester is
Leicester.
Liverpool. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Just wow. I've no other words to say. Liverpool look like they're
I have
they're a
watched
menace
I
right
have
now.
watched a lot of their games this season. Why, I don't know, but they've been really good. They really have been
Yeah,
good.
they really have. They're a scary team right now.
Yeah, very scary. And people are saying, "Oh, they've reached the end of their cycle."
Hmm.
Not really.
Little did they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So the thing with AFCON, it's all a big if right now. We've seen that there is a big possibility of postponement of next edition's AFCON, or even cancellation possibly of the AFCON 22. So that's interesting. It's one we look at quite keenly because a majority, I mean, not a majority, but a few big players in our team might miss. So it's one we'll follow closely, definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Any other question?
Not really. I don't think I don't have any on my end. Do you have?
Mm, okay, there's a question basically asking what do you think went wrong in the Crystal Palace game? I mean, the difference in the performance against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, and that was just days, really, 3-4 days difference in terms of preparation. What was the biggest difference for you in the performance against Aston Villa versus the one against Crystal Palace?
I'm not sure I can tell you, aside from the fact that maybe Odegaard has been a bit off, and Lacazette maybe changed the side's energy at least. Maybe that's one thing. And with the Palace game, I think a lot of people seemed lethargic. It's not just one player maybe that was off. It was, I think, the whole team who was a bit off in that game as opposed to in the Villa game. So maybe they had a bit of a talking to. Maybe they all have seen some people saying that they met after the game and they talked to each other and they all agreed that that wasn't good enough, the way they played against Palace, and that they were lucky to get away with it. Yeah, I think maybe that realization, hopefully, it carries on to the next game because Leicester suddenly have picked up form, of course, just before they play us.
Yeah.
So it's good that we have also been scoring a few goals as well and winning.
I just want to pull up our next fixtures. Just yeah, this is great podcast preparation. These are things that I should have done before. Okay, so we've got Leicester away at Saturday, early kickoff as well. Oof, I hate those. And then Arsenal versus, and then we've got Watford the following Sunday, and then Liverpool. Yeah, and then we've got Newcastle at home, and then we've got Manchester United away at Old Trafford, and then Everton at 2 away games at Goodison. So those are how many games? 6 games, 18 points. How many do you see that we're getting? Or you want us to go? Let's go game by game. Leicester.
Let's go game by game. They're on form. I think we are also relatively on form. I want to say I'll be optimistic and say maybe we win that one. So
I'll also go for a win on that. Watford home.
It's another win, hopefully.
Win. All right. So same here, 3 points. Okay. Liverpool.
Shall we just be realistic, or are we being optimistic?
I think one of us needs to be optimistic. I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to go. I'm going to go for 0 points. Hopefully not a drubbing. I mean, just a clean 2-0, 1-0 loss. I think
we're playing at Anfield.
Yes.
I can't be optimistic about that. I think I'll just accept that one is a given.
No Ramsdale
heroics? Problematic, but there's only so much you can do, you know. They're a formidable side as it stands at the moment. Maybe it's what, two weeks away, a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe by then they'll have had something, and maybe another bug also going around their team, just as it is ours.
Not bloody likely.
Right.
Okay,
Anyway, so I
Newcastle.
can't be optimistic about that. And Newcastle, yes, 3 points.
Wow, you're doing so well here.
Mhm.
Man United
We're
away,
at
Old
9.
Trafford.
We're at 9 so far.
What?
We're at 9 points each, right?
Yes.
So far. Okay. Man U away. I want to say, given on current form, I would say I would like us to get a win there, as
Win.
it stands. But it's Old Trafford, so I'd go with a draw.
I'd also go for a draw. Everton.
I'd take another win there.
I'd go for a draw.
Okay.
Okay,
So mine's the more optimistic one at 14.
You're at 14 out of 18. I'm at 12 out of 18. I mean, that's not bad either way.
To be fair, if we get 10 out of those, because we're actually facing a few problematic teams.
Yeah.
So even if we get 10 out of those, I think that's not so bad. But 12, 14 is really, really good. So
yeah. Well, I really hope
looking forward to those games.
Yeah, looking forward to those games.
I was saying, I think I might be missing the Leicester game. So you'll have to watch it for the both of us and update me.
I will have to suffer through that. That's no problem. All right. So I mean, unless there's anything else you want to discuss.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Lacazette. What do we think of him? I know it's only been he's changed the tone of 2 games only as it stands, but as football fans, we are all very reactionary, and he seems very should I say committed. Arteta likes to use the word transmit. He transmits a lot of energy into the team as it is right now. What do we think of him going into the near future and the more maybe medium future?
Well, it's a difficult one for me because I think, like I said, it's a player that I really like, and I took to him as soon as he came into Arsenal all those years ago. But I think, in terms of his future, I think that decision has already been made, unless something extraordinary happens, because we've already committed to Martinelli, we've already committed to Balogun. So to commit to Lacazette would sort of counter that. I think the decision has already been made on Lacazette. In terms of his future, I think he'll just see out the contract. He's probably thinking, look, I want to leave on a high, leave the club in a good space. You're hearing about how good he is with the youngsters, trying to, leave as much of an impact as possible he can with his time here. And fair play to him. I mean, he could have chosen the other route and said, look, I mean, there's no need for me to exert myself over here. I'll just, play at 50. I just play my part and, and then, take my bags and leave. But he wants to have an impact on the team going forward, even if that future is not with him. I mean, that's fair play to him. But I think the writing's on the wall for Lacazette. I think we've already tied our mast to Aubameyang, so I don't think we could have done that to Lacazette as well. And of course, having committed to Balogun and Martinelli in the previous summers. So yeah, I think it's already done from that.
I think it's really good of him that he's chosen to do what he's doing right now. I think as a leader to these very young players that we have in the team right now. I think we have the youngest squad in the Premier League. as it stands, and
Yeah.
that is with the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette, Xhaka, and Partey in the team. So that's quite a big thing of him to do. I think if he does leave the way he is choosing to leave, I think he would be remembered very fondly for his time at Arsenal. But yeah, I think it's time that we part ways at the end of the season.
Yeah, and we'll obviously wish him all the best in his future endeavors. Right, I think we'll leave it there. I need to prepare this. I think we'll release this tomorrow morning. So I got a little bit of editing what I need to do. As always, thank you to all the listeners for sending in your questions. Please share us to all your friends for listening to the podcast. Thank you as well to Ahmed for giving us your time to record this podcast. And I guess we will catch you after, which game is that? After the Watford game. So hopefully it will be a good podcast, a very good morning, evening, whatever. And I'll see you after that one, guys. Go ahead.